can see you but can't hear you. I wonder if I've got my mute on. No. All right. Howard says he can now. Perfect. Yeah, Hugh, no dramas at all. That's completely fine. All good, everybody. That's fantastic. So we're going to kick off in just a second. Before we do here, I've got a question for you. What's the best thing that's happened to you all week? If you go kind of one thing that's happened this week that I really love, what would that be? Just find the question box, please. Type it in. I'd love to know what's been going on for you. What's the best thing that's happened for you this week? I've just loved hanging out with great friends here in the States. It's been really fun. Me and Kerry Marie and I. Yeah, Kerry Marie and I. My dad's voice going, it's not me, and it's Kerry Marie and I. We've been having a great time listening to a bunch of friends. Howard launched One-to-Many and my member site. Howard, how's it going? How did your first one go? Love to get update. Hugh says, best thing that happened to me all week was me helping create an IP snapshot for Hugh. Dude, happy to help. Went great, says Howard. That's awesome. I got some feedback on the new websites I've created. Good job, Eric. Great feedback. Love that. What else? Best thing that's happened to you this week. Could be business, could be personal, doesn't matter. Just a check-in is all. All righty. So it sounds like all the tech is working. Let's get started with today's session. Daughter's parents evening. Teachers think she's amazing. So do I, Jackie. Take credit, right? First time at a drag racing meet. Hugh, for the first time, I actually thought it said first time at a drag meet. I don't know what that means, but good. Super cool. All right, let's have some fun. So first things first, guys, welcome aboard. Super stoked about today's session. We're going to be going deep with a great client. His name's Marty Amos, lives in New Zealand, in Auckland, and talking about how he's moved from one-on-one to one-to-many. So that's what this session today is going to be all about. A couple of things coming up that I want you to know about. This month, our theme for the month inside Black Belt is about unpacking your IP. So in our previous session, we did a workshop, kind of roll up our sleeves and do it live on the webinar using the pink sheet or the IP snapshot tool and building out some content. So if you've struggled with creating content or the pink sheet process, we literally just finished it. It'll be up online in a couple of days' time. I'd say by Tuesday next week at the latest. We'll send you an email about it. Check that out and walk through the process with us. There's really 3 steps. It's very, very simple when you know how, right, Hugh? In 2 weeks' time, I want to walk you through another great tool. It's probably Pink Sheet and the Product Handle are probably the 2 that I use most in terms of IP. It's called the Product Handle, and it's how to name your stuff so people understand its value, want and remember it as yours, right? So it's how do you name your stuff? How do you come up with cool titles for your tools, for your products, for your concepts, for your events, etc. We just finished a week ago? Can you believe it's already been a week? The Impact Intensive in San Francisco. And many of you guys here in North America were there. And if you're in the Southern Hemisphere or happen to be visiting, then get yourself registered for the Impact Intensive in Sydney. It's in a couple of weeks' time. And blackbeltmembers.com/intensive is where to go. There's really 5 things we're talking about at that event. Number 1, how to drive results and how your clients get quick wins fast. And number 2, how to boost their retention so they stick to you, stick to their commitment to the program, and get the results thereafter. Number 3, how to accelerate the profit that you get from your business. So you're not just kind of making money, but you're keeping money as well, taking the profit first. Number 3, designing the business and engineering it for maximum freedom. So it gives you the autonomy that you want to either spend time at the beach, traveling, or just at least doing the fun stuff in your business. Making sure that you've got choice and you're not being forced into obsessive kind of overwork. And number 5, channeling fulfillment. So you get to do more and more and more of the things which give you energy, give you a buzz, and less and less and less of the things which drain your energy. So that's what we're doing. If you haven't registered already, go to blackbeltmembers.com/intensive. Cool? All right, so let's have some fun with this. Really excited about introducing you to Marty. We've known each other for a ton of time, and Marty Amos. What I'm going to do is I'm going to unmute you, and if you can turn on your webcam as well, that'd be fantastic, while we just introduce everyone to you. So Marty, I've just unmuted your line.
Woohoo!
Hey, hey.
We're going.
Great to have you.
Hey, hey.
Doing very well. So where are you in the world right now?
We're in Auckland, top of the North Island in New Zealand.
Perfect. Very cool. So let's just do a quick 30 seconds or a minute on who you are, who you help, how the business kind of works.
So we help building companies and
Hmm.
construction businesses scale up and basically run your model. And we've just launched Done For You,
Hmm.
and been a business coach for 11 years and was an action coach franchisee for 9 years, and just exited that 2 years ago, and now solely working with building and construction company.
Cool. And so what are the core problems of builders or construction companies that you solve? Like, what do they come to you for?
So 4 key things. So number 1, how to get leads, so marketing, online and offline.
Yep.
So that's where the Done For You websites come in. 2,
Right.
how to convert.
Yep.
3, systems, so the
Okay.
deliver systems on site and in the office. And 4, numbers, so financial and pricing.
Awesome. Okay. That sounds really cool. So, dude, I've known you for, it seems like forever, right?
Yeah.
Years and years and years and years and years. And you were successful as a one-on-one coach for ages, financially successful. Didn't
Yep.
love it so much. I remember one of our very first conversations, you saying, I just kind of don't like the coaching bit. Can you talk to us just a little bit about what was going on in your world that made you decide I'm going to do this one-to-many thing? Talk to us about the problem.
I love a lot of the aspects of coaching or running a consulting business. So I love the seminars, the training, the webinars, the IP, etc. But I don't like sitting in a room one-to-one with someone. It feels like it's what Dan Sullivan would refer to as a mess, and it
Yeah.
feels like it's below my time. And when you teach someone how to do break even for the 476th time in 11 years, there must be a better way to teach that, and the great impact to help lots more builders understand their numbers and scale their business.
Yeah, right. So you kind of feels like you'd fallen out of love with the kind of the core way that you deliver your stuff.
Yeah, 100%. And it
Okay.
just ends up in that merry-go-round. When you get more clients, then you stop marketing because you have to focus on delivery, and you're trapped in your office for 40, 50 hours a week with clients.
Dude, every time I run a webinar, the doorbell rings here at the hotel. So if they ring and say room service, that's probably what's going on there.
Could be Lawrence Tam again.
It could be Lawrence Tam again. He totally seems to kind of pop into my world. Okay, so you love the seminars and the marketing and the training part, and didn't like just 1 second. Hey there, we're here until 4:30, and then you can come in at 4:30. That'd be great. Yes, thank you. Okay, this is despite having called the office and visited themselves 3 times to make sure that didn't happen,
Yep.
but you know how it rolls. Okay, so the problem with the current model is that kind of the more successful you are, the less time you've got, right?
Yeah, fully.
Okay, really clear. So now you'd run that model for 9 years,
Yeah,
10
9
years?
years. Yeah, 9 years. Yep.
Right. So what's the impact of being successful at the old way?
Burnt out, loss of passion, and I think a big thing is kind of not having a clear vision of the way forward and looking for other businesses to provide what I wanted. So we've always had other businesses during the last 11 years.
Okay, so you basically go, hey, I love the learning part of coaching, or the kind of the business side of things. I'm going to apply what I'm learning here into something, quote
Yeah.
unquote, real.
Yep.
So what happens when you do that? Like, what's the downside of running 2 businesses?
Oh, torture. No time. Feel like you're running, or I felt like I was running both of them badly, and we were doing a half-assed job with both. Because if you put 50% effort into something, that's going to reflect in the results.
Yeah.
And also, I think both teams in both businesses feel that I wasn't dedicated and focused to either business, so that has big impacts as well. If you split your energies and split your focus. I know when we've had our best time in action is when we've just been doing one business and sold the other ones. So yeah, so it made we had a cleaning business that we scaled up to doing sort of 150K a month, and then just recently sold that 3 months ago.
Yeah, right. And the reason for selling it was just around focus, or like, why hadn't you let it go earlier?
Well, I had a lot of people in that business depend on me, so we had probably close to 35 people amongst cleaners, team members, and so forth. and it was kind of deciding, okay, do I franchise this business, and is this where my heart lies, or do I focus on the other business, the coaching / consulting business? And I think this business is more scalable worldwide. Yeah.
Yeah, which is weird because most people look at a consulting business and go, actually, this is the kind of the least scalable business in the world, right? Because it's the Marty show or the Taki show.
Yep.
All right, cool. So you've made this transition. Like, when did you launch your group program? How long ago?
12 months ago.
Okay, cool. Great. So let's talk about in the last 12 months, what are the core, if you give me kind of 3 kind of core things that you've done, and then let's zoom in.
Sure. So we focused on doing, so we changed the model to a one-to-many model, and we just replicated your model almost word for word.
Okay. So great. So we've got changed the delivery model to one-to-many.
Yep.
Okay.
We focused on changing our conversion model because we're very good conversion, but it takes a long time, like 4 hours maybe for a sales meeting, and now we've got to cut that in half, and it's down to sort of 90 minutes to 2 hours.
Awesome. Okay. So we've changed the way we deliver, changed the way we can, obviously we'll go into detail on these in a second. Okay.
Yep. And
then,
we started doing webinars. We'd always been purely event-driven via seminars.
Okay. Now, you still do events, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So now you got both happening.
Yep.
Great. Okay. You okay if we kind of dig into each of these in turn?
Yeah, definitely.
All right. So let's talk a little bit about the conversion piece. Actually, let's do it. So I'm sure the guys probably can find out a little bit about and why we replicated some of what we do, but just give us kind of the core pieces. Actually, first,
Sure.
tell me here's why I changed it, and then we'll talk about what you've done.
Oh, the reason I changed it is because the other one wasn't working. It's not scalable. So once you get over sort of 20 or 25 clients one-to-one, you can't grow.
Clients. Okay. So give us the model. How does it look now?
Just pull your model out. It looks almost identical.
Okay,
so people pay.
so
people pay. We do probably where it differs is we do an alignment session first. So that's after the strategy session where they come on board, and that's a throwback from the action days. And we charge $1,000 for that, and that's a 2-hour session where we get their game plan together.
Yep.
Then it's $1,500 per month, and each month there is there's 4 one-day events during the year.
Great.
There's 8 knowledge webinars.
4 times 1 day, there's 8 webinars, which probably it looks like happen in the months where you don't have the event.
Yep, that's dead right.
Yep.
And then there are 12 phone calls.
With
so
whom?
that's a 20-minute one. Well, 8 of them are done with myself, and 4 of them are done with. We have a builder on our advisory panel who's he takes over some of those.
Okay.
So he does 4 of those. I do 8 of them.
Yep.
And then we have in the other times we'll send out regular 5-minute tactics, 1 to 2 of those per month.
I love how you've taken my 10-minute tactic and shrunk it even shorter.
Yeah, exactly. Tradies have lower attention span.
Totally. Or either that or you're just really concise.
Yeah, so there'll be 1 5-minute tactic, and then there'll be 1 case study per month.
Case study, a little bit like we're doing now.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah, cool. Okay, great. So now tell me about this.
We have the only other difference to this is that we have a 2.5K version of that called our Platinum one, and for that they get 1 90-minute session with me per month.
Okay, so there's a $2,500 a month, which is all of that plus monthly.
Yep.
Okay, great. What's the split? How many people take? What percentage, kind of roughly, take the 1,500 versus the $2,000, other 2.5?
Be 3/4 to a quarter.
Great. Okay, cool.
The cheapo one.
Yep. Okay. So one of the things that lots of people kind of struggle with or worry about, Marty, when it comes to building a program like this is, one what if people just want to work with me direct? And obviously you've got an option for that. Have you found, like, how did you find selling this versus selling, we're going to talk together once a week or once a fortnight or once a month? You know, like, how did it change conversion?
I had exactly the same fears as everyone else does.
Yeah.
Will have, you know, they just want to see me. Can we provide? How can we provide better value, etc. But everyone will tell you you can deliver a 10 times better program, and they're after the result, not so much the time with you. So the value, as soon as you get your head around, the value is in the model and the result. The value is not in time with you. So time with you does not equal value.
Yeah, great. So they're after result, not time. And if you can get them 10 times the result in, or, you know, the same result or better in a tenth of the time, then they're happy because they're not wasting as much of their time.
100%.
Okay, great. Love that. Did you have any existing clients that you flipped over into this model, or is this pretty much kind of for new guys onwards?
We did. We had. I think we had 15 clients on one-on-one because I was running my other business as well, so it sort of cut in half from where we were.
Yeah.
And we just actually let that go along the side.
Yep.
And we offered all the 15 got access to the new model.
Yep.
So they could come on the webinars, get the, plus we still had two sessions a month with them. So it's quite busy. And then slowly as they dropped off or finished their program or whatever, the other people each month were running a webinar, running a seminar, filling up the group model.
Great. Cool. So if we just zoom back in here to the delivery model we've just been talking about, if you kind of look at how it is now versus how it used to be, what do you think the kind of the big advantages of doing this kind of group delivery model are?
Oh, like 4 million times, like pretty much everything, really. You're not teaching the same stuff all the time. Like you teach it once, you can leverage it over and over again 1,000 times as an existing IP to your clients, as lead gen magnets out there into the world. You don't get burnt out. We know, so when we hit 50 clients, we're going to hire a BDM / coach, get an Adam. So we know at what level who we're going to bring on next and who we're going to replace what roles and so forth.
So you sort of got a runway of kind of where you're headed.
Yeah, exactly. And that gives us great motivation to go hard to do the events for myself and my team, because they know, well, shit, as soon as we get this X number of events run and Y number of clients on board, we're hiring an admin manager, and that takes all the admin off my project people.
Yeah, love that. Cool. Okay. We'll talk about lessons in a little bit, but if we kind of zoom into this idea of the delivery model, kind of, if there's one big takeaway that you wish everyone got about moving from one-on-one to one-to-many on the delivery side, what's the kind of one lesson you wish everybody understood?
I think the biggest one would be create the vacuum.
What do you mean by that?
So if you decide that you're not happy with what, I guess dissatisfaction is the biggest motivator for anything. So if you're not currently happy with your results all the time or whatever from one-to-one coaching, then decide, okay, we're going to sell one-to-many, and with it alongside your existing one-to-one or whatever, but then put a mark in the sand, run a webinar or run a seminar, and out the back of that, run sell your one-to-many.
Yep.
And then you can, you can offer, if you want, you can transition the people over like George did into your one-to-many, or you can run them alongside and say, well, hey, you'll still get instead of your 2 one-to-one meetings, you're now going to get one, plus we've also got this whole group coaching method. And yeah, we actually launched it when we didn't have any content, didn't have any plan or anything, and we just started, we were running a webinar, we were going to get more one-on-one people, but then we thought, well, let's just start this new program. And so we launched it like 4 months ahead of, we launched it in October when we were actually going to launch it in January of this year. But yeah, happy days.
That's good. Yeah, man, totally happy days. All right, so earlier we said kind of 3 things you did. There was kind of change the delivery model. We've chatted a little bit about that. You've changed the sales process or the conversion piece. Let's talk about that for a little bit. Can you tell me how it used to be? Just give us an overview of what the old sales model is.
So it used to be everything would come off the back of a seminar, so they were really well positioned.
Yeah.
We'd then have a quick phone call after the seminar. So what do you get most value from? If you were to work with us, what would you specifically want to work on? Blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
Then we'd do a strategy session or with them.
Mm-hmm.
And that would typically be around 4 hours. It would kind of be more a show and tell, impress them and so forth. And we'd do profit justification and show them the impact of, if they came on board, what improvements they could expect financially and time-wise. And then, 90% of people would sign up and come on board, but it was very, very, very time intensive. And
Well,
then
dude,
it would be
90% yes is, yeah, 90% is awesome. And then there'd be a 3-hour alignment. Is that right?
Yeah.
And the alignment is kind of the game plan thing. Okay.
Yep, that's right.
So a couple of things I want to be really clear about. 4 hours for this session. Can you tell me some of the things that were either pre-appointment or after-appointment to show the job goods?
Well, it's a very extensive thing from, that there's a seminar that they get before, they get a phone call before the seminar, there's an info pack that goes out, there's live clients in the room giving testimonials during the seminar, everyone goes around and meets everyone else from our team, meets all the prospects, you find out what the prospects' biggest pain points are, there's case studies during the seminar, and then when they come out the back of that, they get sent another pack for those people who've booked in for a strategy session.
Mm-hmm.
And then they come to the strategy session to bring their financials because they're not just coming here for a chat.
Tell me what's in the pack. Just kind of big picture. Give me 3 things which are in the
pack. So there's 16 things about working with a coach.
Yep.
Case studies, multimedia, our guarantee, media on me, so stuff being featured on TV, radio, in the newspaper, that sort of stuff. And then,
cool.
basically.
So then we get into the session and they're going to bring their financials.
Yep.
Which probably leads us into the profit justification piece. And why?
Yeah, that's right.
It sounds like we're doing a lot of kind of number crunching to go, hey, here's where you're at right now. If we improve this and this and this and this, you'll make this much money. That makes my coaching look cheap. Is that kind of the big idea?
Yep, that's right.
Okay, now here's the thing. It sounds like it worked. So why would you stop that process?
It's too many steps, too labor intensive, too time intensive, etc. So if we could take the core elements of that and implement them into your system, it's going to mean, because if you can only see 6 people a week on that time period versus you can see 15 people, then you can be much more effective and much more scalable. And also, it wasn't be much harder to teach someone. The brilliance of your system is repeatable models.
Yeah.
And that's the great thing, is that we can teach this model, your model, to the new BDM and coach that comes on board early.
Love that. Okay, so going from 4 hours into justification, our sales process, the pipeline with the indoctrination event and the funnel filter and then the triage call and the strat session has 0 numbers involved.
Yep.
Tell me a little bit about how, like, was that weird to switch to that model? How do clients respond when there's no sort of profit justification? What do you think it's kind of built on? Just give us kind of the why you think.
Yeah, there is still the profit justification. So we make them bring their financials because most of them, like, we're dealing with reasonably big numbers, like anywhere typically from 2 to sort of 20 million.
Mm-hmm.
So we can show them how small tweaks in their financials will deliver, an extra 500, a mil, 2 mil, 3 mil in net profit.
Yeah.
And it also transfers it from just being a chat or anything to now they have to actually do something prior to coming to the session. So they typically will have to contact their accountant, talk to their bookkeeper or talk to their spouse on why they need their financials.
So they're jumping.
So I think it adds a lot of involvement leads to commitment.
Yeah, totally
so
does.
The more they're involved they are in the process, the more committed they are to actually taking action when they come here. And we position them extremely hard as well.
Love that. Okay, so you've got it down from 4 hours down to 2. What happened to conversion rate? Like you skipped out a bunch of the early steps. What happened to conversion rate? It was like 90%.
Well, we got stuck between two models. We got stuck between our old model that worked phenomenally well but was very labor and time intensive, and trying to do your model, and they were sort of had a real bad half-assed hybrid.
Yeah.
So, and I was trying to implement your model without understanding it fully. And so when I listened to Oren Claff's Pitch Anything,
yeah,
it helped to really put the meat on the bones. So, you know, so when you're doing a triage call with someone and you're saying to them, hey, we're going to have to stick to time because I've got 4 other calls after you, are you comfortable with that? And they're like, holy shit, you know, this guy's the prize.
Yeah.
There's lots of other people just like me that want to get this result, so I'd better take this serious. And then when you add in your questions, why me and why now, and it moves people from fishing for information and so forth.
Yeah.
And we also position that it is going to be hard. So we tell that it's going to be hard. Hey, this isn't going to be easy. Are you willing to step up and do the work? If you're not, you're going to waste your time. You're going to have to put in at least another 5 to 10 hours per week for the first 6 months. Are you comfortable doing that? And they're selling back to us the whole time on yes they will, why they need this, and so forth. And so the biggest thing that I got to you on is assess, not impress.
Yeah.
And when you have those 3 key things, are you willing to step up, willing to put in the hours? It is going to take more time. Are you comfortable being held accountable? Then people start selling to you on, hey, please let me in.
Yeah. Love that. Where do you think, if like you've been selling coaching for 11, 12 years,
Yep.
If you had to go 2 big mistakes that coaches make when selling their stuff, what would they be?
Not valuing yourself as the prize and positioning people hard enough. So they have to, you know, so who else other than yourself is involved in the decision-making process? My wife, Mary, my partner, Bob. Okay, cool. What do we need to do to make sure that they get there? They have to complete all the steps in the process, otherwise you don't see them. So they have to fill in the questionnaire, they have to bring their financials, they have to bring their significant other, etc., etc., etc. And if you have enough deal flow, then that's fine.
Yeah.
But even if you don't, you have to resist the urge to just see anyone, because if they're not taking it seriously, they're not involved, then that won't lead to them being committed.
Yeah, not good for you, not good for them. So even if you don't have real calendar scarcity, you've got to come with the mindset that my time is valuable and book an appointment with someone 10 minutes later so you keep to time.
100%. And as many a wise info marketer has said, your positioning will become your position.
Huh, love that.
And there's a whole bunch of other things within that triage call, you know. It's okay to say no, there's no problem. And also it's okay to say yes. All I ask is out of respect for my time, you'll be willing to give us either a yes or a no at the end of the session on whether a program's for you.
Yeah, exactly. So it takes the weirdness away, but we are here to make a decision, not to like learn stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Love that. Cool, man. Great. So we talked a little bit about the sales process. Conversion rate changed, stayed the same, went up, went down.
Well, it went down for about 3 months, and it was kind of like I'd lost my mojo, and because I was caught between those 2 hybrid systems.
Yeah.
And then I listened to 2 great CDs that you did on, or maybe you did one and Adam did one, on looking upstream in the sales process.
Yeah.
And what parts might you be missing? And maybe that was around January of this year, something like that, February, March, something like that.
Yep.
And that was awesome for, okay, going back and just having a look at all the things. And then you think, okay, shit, well, I thought we were doing the same, but we didn't ask people to bring their financials. We didn't commit them to making a decision. We didn't ask them to get you to know. We didn't say who else other than yourself is involved in the decision-making process. And we didn't say, hey, it's going to be hard work. How committed are you to blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, and you realize, oh, crap, it felt like I was doing it the same, but I totally wasn't.
Yeah, 100%. So I think as long as you have those key criteria, you can go back and assess yourself against those.
That's awesome. Okay. Drew, this is great. Really, really helpful. We've talked about the sales process and the shifts there. We've talked about the model. Let's talk a little bit about webinars. One of the questions I get a lot when I'm, say, at $1 Million Coach Intensive or something like that is people will say, well, my market won't do webinars because they're busy or they're low tech or they're da-da-da. And you've got this market of builders and you've made webinars work. So what's your answer to that won't work in my market?
Figure out best practice and have a commitment and a persistence to learning from the best people to make it work, because it's massively scalable, can be run as an evergreen webinar, and it can go worldwide.
Totally. Okay, so tell us about, on your webinars, are you selling sales appointments, or are you selling product, or are you selling a seminar? What's the offer?
We're selling sales appointments.
Great.
Triage calls.
Yeah, you're selling triage calls, right? So what's your best advice around selling the triage call?
Well, I think you've got to, on the whole webinar, right, there's so many different variables that go into making it work. So I think, number one, I'll just run through a little bit of our process, if that's cool.
Yeah, of course.
So we get a JV, always have a JV partner for all our webinars, and we have multiple JVs. We'll then upload the entire list to make sure that they're remarketed, retargeted on Facebook. We'll send them 3 to 4 emails with videos, like Jeff Walker product launch formula emails. We'll then send them a postcard. Our telemarketers then call them, and we'll then send them a checklist, so there's sort of a mystery intrigue thing to get them to show up. And we also let them know that, hey, there's going to be a workbook that they get as well, but only when they show up on the webinar.
Awesome. Okay, so we've got upload the list to Facebook so you can retarget and remarket. 3 or 4 videos. This is each of the videos promoting the webinar, or?
Yep.
Great. A postcard which promotes the webinar, a phone call which books them in.
Yep.
A checklist which is are we talking about like a curiosity handout, something that gets people intrigued about?
So we've got a 100-point checklist that basically just brings up dissatisfaction across the 7 key areas of running a business. So leadership, systems, team, financials, marketing, sales, and numbers.
Yep.
And then they go, oh shit, I don't have that. I don't get a monthly profit and loss. I don't compare it with my cash flow forecast, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, it's awesome. Great. And then a workbook when they show up. So then what on the webinar itself?
Yep.
Okay. Is there anything that, if you had to go, have you sold product off the webinar, or has it always been straight to calls?
It's always been straight to calls.
Great. Do you have an idea of conversion rate from I'm on a webinar, like 100 people on a webinar, to how many book a triage call?
Well, yes, I do, Taki.
Funny about that.
So typically,
right, about know your numbers.
Yeah. So typically we'll get, say, 150 people register. We might get 30 to 50 show up.
Great. So that's quite low, which is probably a factor of market. Yep.
And then we will, from there, we'll typically get probably a third of those to half them want to opt in for a strategy session.
Triage, yeah.
And then we will sign half of those people as clients. So let's say 10 people booked in for, let's go with the lowest numbers. 30 people showed up, 10 people wanted a triage call. Typically, 3 or 4 of those will say, hey, we're not a good fit, they're a startup, they're too small, or they're people we don't want to work with. And then out of 7 people who commit to a strategy session, maybe 1 will drop out and we'll sign the other 6. So we have as soon as they basically come near our office or we're on the strategy session with them, they're a client.
Yeah, love that. That's awesome. What do you call your strategy session when you're on the webinar or the triage call? You call it a strategy session. That's genius.
Yep. I know.
So creative. I love that.
Yep. Have you trademarked that yet?
I haven't trademarked that, but we'll do that. We'll do that tomorrow. Anything else you think we should know about running webinars to sales appointments?
We chucked in an extra slide that made quite a bit of difference, saying who it's not for, and we specifically went for, this is not for you if you're turning over less than $1 million. This is not for you if you're happy with your results at the moment. This is not for you if you're willing to commit an extra 5 to 10 hours per week, etc., etc., etc.
Great. And so there were qualifications around about money, about time, and about effort, right?
Yep.
Awesome. That's great. I think, yeah, just like maybe it's a takeaway sale, but it's also just being really, really clear about who you do your best work with and who you don't.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, love that. All right. So right at the start, I said, there was kind of three things you focused on, and they were
Uh,
delivery,
yep,
one-to-many. There was conversion from the old
yep.
process to the triage call strategy session, and then there's the webinar itself. You've done all these
hmm
three things, and we've gone pretty deep into them. Give us the results. So like 12 months ago, there was no clients in one-to-many.
Yep.
Yeah,
So
talk
we've
to me
got
about results.
40 clients in one-to-many now.
Hmm.
And our done for you is probably at, I don't know, 20 to 30 grand a month as well.
Now, is your done for you a continuity, or is it just
No,
a
it's just
one and done? Yeah.
we're launching a massive push into that next week that I was just running through with Howard, and I'll have a chat with Tristan afterwards,
Great.
to do in-depth, basically websites within our niche, and we're mastering it at the moment. Then we're going to systemize it and scale it throughout New Zealand and then worldwide.
Love that.
I haven't quite
Yeah.
figured whether it's continuity or a one-off. We have no problem selling the one-offs, and the websites range between 5, 8.5, or 13K.
Yeah. Okay. So at that price point, you're probably fine just doing one-offs. That's good.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Love that, man. Okay. So
One
talk
little,
to me. Yeah.
sorry, I was going to give you one little bit of gold that we've found was the big BFO was when the webinar wizard gets 60% of his clients from doing seminars.
Mm.
And it's kind of like, well, hold on, we used to be the seminar kings, and we moved away from that to go to the leveraged online webinar model, and we stopped doing seminars for a year and a half. And then we just did one recently, had 17 triage calls and brought on board 10 new clients. And
Right.
what we did, so of course we had a joint venture partner and all that multi-step, multi-sequential, multi-medium, postcards, direct mail, phone calls, da-da-da-da. But then
Yeah.
what we did was we said, okay, cool. So for all the people who we did a seminar, so we had 33 people register and show up. They paid $100, but we're going to boost that up to $200 from now on.
Mm-hmm.
We then so the joint venture partners come along. We got a testimonial from the joint venture partner, and then we ran a webinar a week later to all those people who couldn't make it, saying, hey, you're going to get the exact same info for free, and we sent them a physical workbook. And show-ups work well, conversion worked well, and so forth. So we're going to repeat that model massively.
That's genius to people who missed out.
Mm.
That is awesome.
Yep.
That's great, mate. Thank you. Nugget.
You're welcome.
Yeah. All right. So 40 in one-to-many, done for you at 20 to 30K a month. So beforehand, from like when we chatted yesterday, whenever it was, you're at kind of $500,000-ish. Right now, you must be on track to do $1 million or just under?
Yep, that's right. So we should be close to $1 million.
Love that, man. Anything else I need to know? So right at the start, you said kind of I've fallen out of love with coaching. It was unscalable. More clients meant less life. Just give me the kind of, you've given us some dollars results. Give us the kind of the what do you love about this model?
Huge to have the passion back and the clarity and vision of what the next steps are to just work in each person's genius. Stop doing the stuff that we don't want to do, and we know, cool, when we get 5 more clients on or 10 more clients or sell 4 done for you programs, then we hire a admin manager, and then we hire a BDM/coach. And then it's like, okay, cool, now I can just do the parts that I want. So we have quite a large team now. So we've got 3 of us in-house, but then we have 4 people out-of-house that are consultants/part-timers, where we have funnel person, a copywriter, a videographer, and a Facebook person.
Yep. Awesome, man. That's so good. So what does this mean to your kind of workload? Are your hours up? Are your hours down? Or are the hours about the same, but the jobs you're actually doing are different?
Yeah, the hours about, I think the hours are down slightly, to maybe it's only 40 hours a week. There's no weekend work, no evening work.
Yeah.
And now it's changed. We're massively changing to. I loved AJ's webinar last month, and the only 2 things she should be doing are publish and perform.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, cool. And I noticed, Taki, you've upped your output like 1,000-fold in the last couple of months. So that's our next one. Is okay, cool. Become the Gary Vaynerchuk of builders and have audio, video content out there. So we bought a camera, set up our own studio because that was, I listened to your Authority Accelerator. It was excellent.
Yeah.
And so, okay, one of the key things was we had a videographer, so we'd have to book him in for a week, then take a week to get the stuff back. But now we can see something, have a decision, get a client win. Oh no, I can go into the boardroom or outside, shoot a video, and boom, it can be out there on Facebook as a lead gen magnet the next day, or LinkedIn, or on our email list.
Love that, man. So good. Yeah, we've significantly upped our quality and volume, and actually done it without having to create any more stuff. So my focus is on publish and perform to my clients, and I've got a team now that is taking existing client content and taking snippets of it and turning it into marketing content. So it's pretty frictionless. Dude, this is awesome. As we wrap up, give us like 3 either kind of lessons you've learned along the journey or 3 mistakes that you've made that you want to make sure people avoid.
Okay, sure. So the biggest one is focus. So cut your losers, ride your winners. Figure out which business you're most passionate about if you've got multiple businesses. Another one is I'm quite the info junkie, so I've got Ryan Dice, Russell Brunson, Dan Kennedy, etc. coming out my ears. I live, eat, sleep, and breathe it. And I think one of the keys is to Tim Ferriss, etc., is to not get info overload. Cut the info down to 1, maybe 2 people max, and implement like a mofo.
So the lesson is less voices, pick 1 or 2.
Yep.
And up implementation.
Yep. And a massive one also, I think, is holidays for yourself and your team. So we now work in 90-day sprints. We've just done our calendar for next year. First thing we did was book in when our holidays are. So when I'm taking holidays, every 90 days we'll be taking 1 or 2 weeks out. And so we don't get, or so I don't, and the team doesn't, make sure the team takes their breaks as well. So everyone's fresh and invigorated, recharged, and enjoying what we're doing.
That's awesome. I think James Brown was right when he said kind of hit it and quit it. And so you got kind of 90-day sprint, going to hit it really hard, and then just kind of boom, close things down for 2 weeks, recharge, and like give everyone a break at the same time and all come back together fresh and ready to go. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's massive.
Dude, love that. All right, so if there were 3 actions somebody could take to kind of move, like to start the journey from one-on-one to one-to-many, if you had to go, last thing I'd like to say, kind of 3 things you should do, what would they be? 3 actions.
Yep. So the first thing is just do it, create that vacuum.
Yeah.
The second thing is master conversion first.
Yeah.
And in this order, I believe: triage, strategy session, webinar, seminar.
Let me get that down. Give me 1 sec. And if you could explain the reasoning, that'd be great. So triage.
Yep. Strategy session, webinar, and then seminar.
Yep.
So
why? Why in that order?
You can bring people on. The most critical thing is the entry point, like the first step after when someone has a talk to you, because if you can't get that right,
nothing else happens.
You can't progress to this. There's no point in being great at having 20 people on a triage call, but you only get 2 to a strategy session, right?
Correct. Yep.
So you get that one right first, and you can convert people then into a strategy session. If you can convert people from a strategy session, hey, presto, you've got a client.
Yeah.
And you've got money and cash flow to build your business.
Love that.
The webinars for a lot of reasons that they're scalable. They cost next to nothing to run. You can run them within 4 days' notice. You can get joint venture partners, etc., etc. It's much easier to run, even though we come from a seminar background of doing it for 10 years, it's much easier to run a webinar and to get good and comfortable and streamlined at doing that than get comfortable with seminars, because a seminar could be anywhere from $1,000 to 8 to 10 grand to put on.
Yeah, completely right. Dude, I love that. That's really helpful. conversion first from triage to strategy session to webinar to event in that order, I think makes a ton of sense. In fact, that's the exact order that I did it in. That's interesting. Okay, hadn't thought about it in that order. That's great. Action 3?
Publish and perform.
Tell me more.
And that correlates with work in your genius. So, you know, I'm sure AJ, you, a whole bunch, if you look at all the top people in the top of their field, Brad Sugars, Dan Kendi, Joe Polish, Ryan Dice, Russell Brunson, they're all massively prolific. So they're in Gary Vaynerchuk. They're all either one, publishing with either video, audio, written, whatever's your favorite medium, or they're performing. So they're doing a webinar or they're doing a seminar, and that's leverage. They're standing up in front of, 50 to 100 people each time.
Dude, love that. This has been fantastic. Thanks for sharing.
And lastly, get joint ventures to publish to promote your stuff.
Great.
But that's sort of further down the path once you master the other stuff.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. All right, dude, this has been really helpful. Bunch of people on the line right now who've been kind of loving this and typing in some stuff all the way through. What I'd love you guys to do is to share what was best takeaway for you. We've talked about heaps of stuff. What was most useful?
Cool, man. Can I take a 1-minute toilet break and come back?
Yeah, man, you totally can.
Ciao.
Love that. So we've talked a bunch about conversion models and stuff like that. Big takeaways for me, though, I had heaps. I think if we just go in reverse order, this idea of conversion first, triage, strategy session, webinar, and event is just a great takeaway, kind of a huge nugget. In terms of focus, cutting your losers and splitting your focus down to one thing, combating info junkie stuff and just going, who's the one person I want to zoom in on, or perhaps to max, and then just up my implementation and just kind of kill off the noise. The best thing you can do is unsubscribe from everybody else's content and just find your person, whether it's me or whoever, and just focus in on that one voice. And then holidays, making sure you've got your 90-day sprint focused in. So you work really hard, but you've got a light at the end of the tunnel very, very regularly. So I'm just looking, Marty, at big takeaways. Let's have a look. Jean-Marc says best thing for him was the order of focus. Couple of questions here. So, dude, can I just say, best things, please, ladies and gentlemen. There's a bunch of you on the line and like 3 best things. So can you please type those in? That'd be great. Hugh says know who you're not for and make sure they know that too. It does 2 things. It saves you from talking to people who aren't qualified, and it makes those who are work harder to get a place in your attention. Marty, are you back?
Yeah, ready to rock and roll.
All right, man. Quick question. Jonathan is asking, how do you ask for their spouse and anyone else that should be involved in a buying decision to show up for the strategy session? Has this been something that significantly improves sales? Yes. Tell us about how you do that specifically.
Okay, so they've committed to the date. You said, okay, cool, Jonathan, I've got 2 spots available, either next Wednesday or next Friday. Which one works best for you? Great. Okay, now I need you to do a couple of things before we have our session. Number 1, can you send me through your last 2 years' financials, please? Number 2, who else other than yourself is involved in the decision-making process? And that's they'll either say, oh, look, it's solely me, I do everything, or they'll say, oh, my wife does the books, I'd really love her to be there. Okay, cool. What do we need to do to get her there?
Yep. What do we need to do? Great. Thank you. Helpful. Let's have a look. Howard says, best things, take away selling and increase my focus. Mike says, I love the 2-tier, the tier 2 for more Marty. Yeah, so there's like $1,500 no Marty, or for an extra grand you get more Marty.
Yeah, we're going to increase that price.
Yeah, I was going to say, it feels like not big enough a jump to me.
Yeah, exactly.
Jackie says, be clear about who it's for and who it's not to create demand. Alfie says, love the slide idea to exclude a non-fit client right up front. Diana says, I'm inspired by the nurturing with information between the webinar registration and show up. Yeah, killer. Jonathan says, thanks. Eric says, takeaways to get rid of the noise and focus on getting it done. The other is that you started your program with no content. Can you just talk for a second about starting naked?
Well, we didn't have a structure or anything, so we just thought, we just chucked it out there. Here's what you're going to get, and then it was like, okay, well, we've got to run a webinar, or we've got to do some content on this. We knew that we wanted to go to a one-to-many, and we
Yep.
knew that the fastest way was to simply not reinvent the wheel, but just to replicate the system that Taki does.
Mm-hmm.
So we then we started doing that. And one thing that we will transition to that we've done differently is, I tried doing an education one and a Q&A, but when you've only got 10 people and you're done for you, in your group one at that stage, and they're builders, and you're running it during the day, and you have 1 or 2 people show up, there's not a lot of fun. So we chucked that out, and we implemented, the phone call Fridays and so forth. But we will bring that back in now that we're at a reasonable level of scale, and the BDM can take over running those Q&A sessions.
Great, that's good. Mike G is asking a question. Do you close on a strategy session, or do you give them time to, quote unquote, think about it? And how do you handle that?
So we close on the strategy session. So 90% of people say yes or no. 10% of people, maybe 5% of people, I think it's happened 3 times this year. And we've brought on board, I think we've signed 60 to 70 clients this year so far. The people who say, hey, I just need to think about it, typically you can tell if they're a high S or a high C in the disc profile and they need to think about it, and I say, okay, cool, can you let us know by 12 o'clock tomorrow? I don't mind if you're in or out, but just let us know one way or the other. Yep. But some people that piss me off, I feel like saying, well, hey, look, it's probably not a good fit for you at this stage, and that's cool, let's just leave it here. So I might try doing that from now on.
Yep.
Because there's been a lot of, they've had everything up till then to make a decision. So they've seen some of our webinars, they've been to a seminar, they've had a triage call, they've got an epic information pack, and then they've just spent 2 hours with me. Like,
what else do they need, right?
Make a decision then what are you going to be like making a decision, take action to implement stuff into your business?
Love that. Quick follow-up question. Do you offer a deal on the day, or is the price, and it doesn't, in other words, like, is there a discount if they sign up right now?
Yeah, the price is the price. Some other people do it, but I'm not a fan of it. We used to do it when I was in action, and we used to charge $2,500 for the alignment, and we say, okay, if you come on board today, it's $1,995 or it's $1,500, and we can just get started.
Let's say $5. Did you say?
No, let's say $500 or $1,000.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Yeah, I don't do a deal on day either, but some people use it and it helps. Dude, this has been great. Really appreciate you, mate. Thanks for sharing. This has been super fun, and I'll see you at Black Belt and Boardroom in a couple of weeks' time in Sydney.
Awesome, man. Go well, team.
On fire. Get a hose.
Get a hose.
Get a hose, indeed.
Not that kind of hose.
No, totally not. Not those kind of hose. See you, bye.
Cheers, bro.
Dude, that was awesome. Thank you, Marty. Super great. Tons to implement right there. Here's what I want to know. If there was one takeaway from that, by the way, I'll make sure you get a copy of the notes, but if there was one takeaway from that you really needed to hear, what was the one thing? Crap, I needed that. Can you please start a comment which says, crap, ! I needed ... And while you do the crap, I needed that, I'll have a quick drink. Tell me what you needed. Yeah, Jonathan, that was killer. Hugh, thank you. What did you need from that? What was the one piece you needed to do? Cyril says, I need to continue scaling up my delivery. Yes. Ramp things up. Crap, I needed the focus, says Eric. Love that. Crap, I needed that you can start with no formal content. Jackie, don't let that slow you down. Great. Alfie, what did you need? Andrew Houston, what did you need? Chris, Diana, Howard, what did you need? Jason, Jean-Marc, Jonathan, big one for you. Michael, Mike, Simon, Stuart, Tom, what did you guys need from that piece right there? Jean-Marc says, crap, I needed focus. Love that. Alfie, crap, the same story as always. Cut the info overload and get straight to the meat and potatoes. Yes, Alfie. He's info to sell hard. Yeah, and he didn't mean hard selling, but sell it. It's going to be hard work, right? Let's not promise easy if it's not. Crap, I needed repeatable models. Teach once that's scalable. Yes, otherwise you're just having the same conversations again and again, Chris. I needed that spouse piece, Jonathan. Yeah, otherwise you get the, oh, I need to talk to my blah, blah, blah. Let's get him on the line. Crap, says Michael. Focus. Stuart Bell says, sorry, dude, driving. Crap, you need to put 2 hands on the steering wheel to see that I should start coaching again, not just done for you. Howard, yes. 25% willing to pay more for more. Yes, but let's make sure, dude, I think $1,000 a month to have an hour and a half with you is way too cheap, Mike. Let's just premium that up. I reckon it's at least 2, maybe 3K a month more. Happy to do that. Crap, I needed the conversion piece, says Andrew. Sorry, I'm driving in the mountains. Crap, Tom, you need to keep your eye on the road. Don't type me anything. Okay, so if that's your insight, that I needed focus, or I need to, I needed to know that people would be willing to pay more. Here's what I'm going to get you to do right now, with the exception of anyone who's driving right now. If there were 3 action steps you could take that would help you implement or get moving on the insight you just had, what are the 3 action steps you could take? I'm going to give you a minute right now to type them into the question box. Type them into the question box. What are the 3 actions you can take to implement this and move yourself forward? 3 actions based on that insight. Yeah, talking to you, except for Tom and Stuart, who are driving. What are the 3 actions? I'll give you a sec to do that. Great job, Marty. I don't know if you're still on the line or not, but if you are, thanks for sharing so deeply. That was fantastic. Yeah, you are. Thanks, dude. You're a ledge. Okay, here are a couple of actions. Cyril, think, what do I want my business to look like in a year? I want it to be more scalable. Number 2, design the right format. Number 3, test it. Great. Howard, delegate stuff that isn't my genius to other people. Eric, create a new webinar, create piece to camera, create authority marketing. Love that, Eric. Howard, plan out a coaching program. Howard Tinker is coming into the coaching world. Love that, mate. Mike G, because of you, Taki, I've blessedly implemented much of this already. Yes, you totally have, Mike. How about we just implement the $3,000 to get more Mike VIP program? Right? By the way, I wouldn't do 90 minutes a call. Just think about the boardroom format. That call. It's like 45. It's killer. I posted in the boardroom Facebook group the other day. I don't think you need 90 minutes to give somebody a great result. Chris says, I need to master the triage, strategy session, then webinar, and then make some time to build the scalable products. Love that, Chris. Set a date to launch my coaching. Action steps. Prune the info overload, focus on meat and potatoes, have a slide for non-fit to create vacuum. Great. I'm going to do the 3 things on Marty's list. Love that. Use the recordings from my current webinars to create formal content. Set up my own video lighting, etc., and delegate more. Jackie, love that. Jean-Marc, love that. Mike, perfect. Planning on a boardroom with 4 clients, not a 90-minute call. Yes, 100%. Totally good. All right, guys. Well, listen, I just want to say this has been an absolute hoot. Loved working with you. Technically, this is a Q&A call. I just want to give you a little bit of a heads up about changes to structure for the webinars for next year. Usually these hot seats are so good that we go for 40 minutes or 50 minutes or an hour, and then I open up for Q&A at the end and there's no questions. I want to make these calls all about the hot seat and implementing the lessons from them, which we've just done. So next year there's going to be 3 webinars a month with me, just like there are right now. There's going to be the training webinar, which is me teaching the content. There's going to be an implementation hour, which is a 10-minute tactic and then implement it, just like we did this morning with the IP snapshot. And then there's going to be a hot seat where we get to deep dive with a client who's doing something great and learnable from, like this. So it's not going to be teach a little bit and then Q&A. And we've got the weekly shirt for the Q&A. So this is, I think, just a much more focused way. And we don't have to split our focus. We just go deep dive on one thing. So, guys, I just want to say thank you. I think this has been fabulous. You now know a ton of what it takes to move from one-on-one to one-to-many, thanks to Marty. And number 2, you've picked your big idea and you've got a 3-step action plan. The only thing left to do, if I was talking to Cyril, he would say is to book an appointment with yourself, right? Book a session with yourself to implement. So all I want you to do right now is to open up your calendar and figure out when, in the next week or 2 weeks max, you're going to put in the session to implement step 1 or 2 or 1 and 2 and 3 for you. So everyone should open your calendar and just decide, when am I going to do that action list? Otherwise, it's just like a piece of fiction. It's just like a lovely idea that never gets implemented. Cool. Howard, you're totally welcome. Cyril, you are the best. Thanks for the French smiley face. So good. Just as a little FYI, I've opened up one extra spot in Boardroom in Sydney, and I have 2 slots available in Boardroom in the US. Great groups, both. And so if you are at or around $1 million a year and want to up your game significantly by being around the best, most successful clients like Marty and others, then just send me a message on Facebook and we'll have a chat about that. Cool? Jean-Marc, you're welcome. See you in a few weeks. Michael, you are the best. Thanks to Marty. This was great. Love your work. Good. Thanks, Chris. Guys, this has been really fun. Thanks so much for hanging out today. Thanks again to Marty for sharing. Guys, love your work. Get into action. I'll see you in a couple of weeks in Sydney at the Impact Intensive. Andrew Houston, dude, I can't believe you asked me questions about mapping out the first 90 days right while we were doing it. You got to get your butt to the events, bro. I really, really, really want to help you. Cool. Where am I right now? I'm in Santa Monica. We're about to run a $1 million coach intensive here in LA in 2 days' time. It's Thursday here. All right, gang, take good care, and I'll talk to you soon.